Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our May recap. Hoping everyone can hear me okay. I'm not in my usual place, so my internet might be a little slow today. But we're going to mix things up a little bit this morning, and we're going to get started with employee self-service, and then we will move on to payroll, and Andrea will take care of that, and then Pat will be doing the USAS and the inventory portion. So this is Michelle. Since you can't see my face here, my video isn't working very well. I'm going to cover the recent releases that took place for the employee self-service and demo some of this for you. So I'm just going to have my chat up here just in case. Okay. So we had two regular releases in May. 2025.8 went out on May 9th, and then 9 went out on May 23rd. And so we've added a few new features. So the first one I want to talk about is our in-app notifications. And so what we've done is we've created an actual notification window up in the right-hand corner to let users know about maybe recent leave requests that have been approved, or maybe for a supervisor, if somebody has submitted a leave request for approval, they will receive a little in-app or a notification letting them know. So I'm going to take you to that area and show you what that looks like. So I am in I'm logged in as Susan Dean. And you will see here up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little bell icon, little bell indicator with a counter. And so what that means is that the bell is the in-app notification icon. And then the 3 indicates that she has 3 unread notifications. So I just need to click on that to bring up this little screen. And it's going this window here, and it's going to show me 2 separate areas here. The first one is the unread portion. So that's showing me, and that should match my counter up here. So that's showing me the number of unread messages. So just looking at this first one here, it's notifying Susan that a leave request has been approved. And so what this next portion here is actually a link. And so when you click on that link, it then takes Susan to her My Leave Request grid so that she can view that leave request that's been approved. Same thing down here. She had a personal leave request that was approved as well, and a vacation leave request. So I'm just going to click on the sick leave one. And when I do that, you'll notice that behind this window here, it does display her My Leave Request grid, and that she can then go in and view her approved leave if she wants to. One thing with this though, and I was relating it to like my email inbox, is once I click on something, it's no longer marked as unread, but that's not the case here. And so what happens is these will remain unread until you go in and mark all as read. So once I do that, it will remove these 3 from this window here, and it will move them over into the all option. So the all option is going to show you all read messages, all messages that have been read. And as you can see, this could fill up quite a bit, and quickly. And so I'm going to talk about an option that we have available in our job scheduler that will remove any notifications that are 31 days or older. That way it keeps the list of notifications here down. So once a notification has reached that age of 31 days, it will get removed from the in-app notification window. So that's about everything in a nutshell when it comes to this. What we've done though in the documentation, and I'm going to take you to that, the in-app notification information is underneath our home screen. We were trying to find a good spot for it and felt like, it is part of the home screen area. And so we have added it to the home page in the wiki, and the notifications area is right here. And in here, you'll see that we have included the following conditions that will display in-app notifications. So for leave request, creation will be, it will notify the super when a leave request has been created. It'll notify when a leave request has been approved or rejected, it's going to notify the original user and the supervisor and the leave manager. So it just goes down here and explains what happens when I do a timesheet. Who will it notify? So it explains that information here. Also, data change workflow. So if an employee creates a data change request, the data change manager will receive a notification. And then the original user will also receive a notification if the data change request was approved or rejected. And one more thing, so all of these, like the workflows, the leave requests, the timesheet, and the data change workflows, they all have, like I said, these links here that will take you to that grid then, so that they can view that particular data change request or leave request or timesheet. The last one that will receive in-app notifications is if the password expires. So there's no link for the password notification. It's just basically a reminder to let you know, hey, your password is going to expire, and it basically counts it down and just reminds you that you need to reset your password. So yeah, it's a little, convenient tool. I'm going to go back to see this up here. It kind of catches your eye when you log in to say, oh, what's going on? What are these notifications? We're so used to seeing that in other applications, in our browser windows, and our emails, things like that. So it's nice to have something like that in ESS as well. So like I said, if I wanted to mark all of these as red, I would just click on that, and you'll notice that it cleared it out of the unread, and now they're all located underneath the all area. So any questions about the in-app notifications? Okay. Just some other new features, new job. I just talked about that one. A new job was added that's going to run nightly to delete any of those notifications that are older than 31 days. So I'll just quick show you where that's at. So go down to Susan Dean. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to go log in. Sorry, it's going to take a little bit for me to get to that here. There we go. And so underneath system and underneath the batch jobs, there is going to be this new notification. I'm just going to widen this a little bit, this in-app cleanup job. So that's the new one you're going to see underneath here. So like I said, that is running nightly, and it will go out there then, and it will delete any in-app notifications that are 31 days or older. Another new feature is we now store the most recent position when the user creates a leave request. So if a user has 3 positions, and let's say they're a cook, aide, and a bus driver, when they go in to create the leave request and they want to create a leave request for their cook position, they would click on, cook for the position and then fill out the rest of the leave request. They submit that request. When they go back in, then the next time to create a leave request, it's going to stay on that cook position. It's going to default to the last position that they selected. So just more of a convenience feature that we improved here. Another thing that we've done is underneath the system menu, we have a new monitor area that's going to display something similar to the monitor areas you see in the other applications. So this is kind of more of an admin level view. I think admin and district managers have access to this. So I'm going to take you to where that's at. And so underneath I'm still underneath the system menu. If I go down to monitor, you'll see the 4 different tabs. So again, the setup looks similar to what we see in USAS and payroll. The information might be slightly different in here though. This info area is basically the same information you see underneath the about page. What version is this instance in and things like that. And so what we've done is we've taken this information, and I'm going to go back to our documentation, and we've explained it more underneath our system menu. So I'm going to go down to system again. And we have this monitor area underneath the system chapter. And it goes in here then and just explains each of these areas and what they do. So basically, this is probably more for us or for our technical departments in case they need to go in and review some of this background information. So right now, we currently have those 4 tabs. Any questions regarding that new monitor feature? Okay, the last big feature I want to talk about is the digital delivery. Before I do, I'm just going to check my chat just to make sure. Okay, no messages there. So the last one I talk about is this W-2 digital delivery acknowledgement view and configuration. So what we've done here is payroll a few months ago went in and created and set up the digital delivery information in there. And one of those places that it shows the digital delivery is underneath the employee's record here. There's a W-2 digital delivery area where there's a checkbox for digital only W-2 and the agreement timestamp. Now, those are going to be blank until a user logs into ESS. So they have to use ESS in order for this digital delivery to work. So until the person logs into ESS and opts in for W-2 digital delivery. And I want to show you the new options we added in ESS that will make that happen and allow this then to get updated in USPS. So I'm going to go back. And I am going to first show you where the configuration setting is in here. So that is still underneath the system menu and underneath configuration. And I'm just going to log down or scroll down to the W-2 configuration. So that's the new option that we added. And so what you're going to see here is a window that one sets it up so for district-wide to allow digital-only W-2s. So this is basically just setting it up so then that users can go in after this is set up and opt in. And so once this is set up, it also displays the legal notification on acknowledgement. So this basically explains what the user is consenting to when they opt in to receive their W-2s digitally. And so this is an editable area. So I could go in and edit this and make some changes in here. So that's up to the district on what they're going to provide in this information. We have provided the default information, legal information. And if, there is a change made and they want to change it back to the default legal notification, they can click on reset to default and this will reappear. So what happens then is once the district, so the, leave manager, district manager, ITC, whoever's going to set up the W-2 configuration in here, once this part is done, what happens then is I'm going to log in as a user. And like I said, it's under the user profile. So for Susan's, I need to go into her profile record and scroll down here at the bottom, and it's way down here at the bottom. And it says W-2 acknowledgement. And so when I click on that, the legal information that we just saw on that prior screen is displayed at the top here. So like I said, if the district does go in and make changes to this, then the user is going to see that revised version. But right now, this is the default. So it basically tells them that when you consent to this, you will not receive a paper copy of your W-2. You will be notified by email when your W-2 is available. You can access your W-2 securely through ESS at any time. You can even withdraw your consent at any time with this portal. And so basically they can go into this decision and change it back to revoke after they consent it. That's what that means. And then it does say here that this consent remains in effect for future tax years unless you revoke it. And so in here then, in order to opt in and consent to receive your W-2s electronically, they need to sign the digital signature, they need to date it, and they need to select consent to receiving digital only W-2. And then once they submit that, it's going to pull it back into USPS. And that's where I was showing you that it's going to then populate this checkbox here and mark it. And then it's also going to put whatever that timestamp was and timestamp it here too. So this is an indication then to the district that this employee has consented to opt in to receiving their W-2s digitally. What we plan on doing is, I know W-2 season is a little ways away and everyone's pretty much, home for a lot of the employees at the district are home for the summer. And so what we're planning on doing in August is we're planning on holding a Fridays with Fiscal with you guys to talk about the digital delivery in both USPS and in ESS. We're going to go through the setup steps in USPS, the setup steps in ESS, and also talk about what the user has to do to opt in. And at the same time, too, that month, we are also going to have a W-2 digital delivery FAQ page in the August newsletter. So, and this is this is a rough draft. We started typing stuff in, but it just explains what it is, how the district sets it up, what the user has to do, what are they consenting to. All of that information will be laid out so both the district and especially, the ITCs and the user knows what's going on when it comes to their W-2s and consenting to receive them digitally. So all of those questions should be answered then. We decided to do that in August just because everyone is coming back to school then. And then this information, especially the newsletter and the Fridays with Fiscal can be shared with your districts then and give them the information they need so that they're ready to go for W-2 season. So any questions in regards to the W-2 digital delivery? So if the user revokes it and they do want a paper copy, does someone get notified? So I'm not 100% on that, Jen. So when that gets revoked, it's going to go back up and uncheck, update that information in USPS. But I'm not 100% sure if there's some type of notification that happens. So we'll have to look into that to make sure. And that's could be a good one to add to our FAQs as well. Thank you. All right, going back. Any other questions about the W-2 digital delivery? I think once we go through this, after we all get through fiscal year end and we're able to concentrate on the next thing, it'll be nice then in August to go over these things and just kind of get a good sense as to how this is going to work in both USPS and ESS. It'll be a good time to go over that. Okay, let's go into some improvements here. Scroll down a little bit. In timesheets, we made some improvements in regards to the line items on the timesheet. We have improved how it calculates the hours worked, and it's totally based on the start and ending times, and includes that break time in there. So you know, enter in 7 to 3, it knows, and it auto calculates your hours worked based on that. Also, we've added a copy feature to copy one line item row down to another. So I'm just going to quick go in there. And I'm still logged in as Susan. So if I go to my timesheets here, and I just go into create, just to kind of show you what's going on here. And so here, like I said, if I go in and enter and make a change to the start and ending time, it'll auto calculate and pop in the, I'm gonna scroll over here, my calculated leave length based on, or I'm sorry, my hours worked based on what I entered in my start and ending time. And just a refresher too, that we did this edit feature not too long ago. And so, like I said, here's where I can go in and I can change this up if I needed to. And the hours worked is going to auto calculate. So you don't have to go over and enter in 8 hours. It'll know to plug in 8 hours automatically. And like I said, the other thing is this copy line item feature. So for those that maybe don't have a shift set up, or they want to take, you know, maybe they worked an extra time on the same day and they just want to copy that over and just overwrite the start and ending times on that, they can easily do that by using the copy, and it will create a new row with that same information. So it's, you know, something we're similar with and USAS and payroll when you're going in and doing a copy. Sorry, a little slow. It's trying to cancel out of here. There we go. Okay, so those are the new improvements underneath timesheets. The audit report, we did add a couple more filters to the report options page. And I think I have a PDF file of that. I do. And so what we've done is we've added leave types and the employees' positions on here. So when I ran my audits report, I did select that I just wanted to see vacation leave for just Susan. And when I did that, it displays that information here. So again, just some good information to give us, you know, more information as to what options we used when we generated our audit report. Also in timesheets, we have improved the timesheet export, allowing users to select which timesheets they want to export, and also allow users to filter their timesheets by pay group or building codes. So we've kind of are trying to model the timesheet export to the leave request export. And so I'll just show you what that looks like. So I'm going to log out of Susan and log back in my admin account. It's thinking about it a little bit here. Here we go. And when I go down to Timesheet Manager, that's where the export's at, and go to Timesheet Export. Here is the new pay groups and building codes option. So you can filter by that. And also, when you do finish your filtering and you're ready to export, you used to just have to do more filtering or whatever in order, and whatever's in this grid, the full thing was going to be exported. Now you have the option just to choose specific ones. And then you can export the timesheet. So very similar to how the leave export is like. So if I go down to export leave requests under the leave management, same type of thing. We have the pay groups and building codes here, and we have the ability to select specific ones. So we're trying to improve timesheets to look more like this. Okay. And the last thing I want to cover in regards to improvements is the leave time configuration. I know that we've had a lot of requests about making that a bit more flexible. So for example, if a district wants this just to set up the leave time for certified versus classified. Or part-time versus full-time. They just wanted a little more flexibility with that. And so I want to take you to where that's at and show you the updates that were made. So again, I'm going down to the system menu. That's the system menu updates we made in May. And I'm going down to configuration, and I'm going down to leave time. And so this is the new window, the updated window. And so you have by appointment type, certified and classified. And then within that certified appointment type, whether it's full-time or part-time. And then, so if that employee is a full-time certified teacher, let's say, that is daily, when they go in to create their leave request, it's going to increment by half days. And if I have a classified part-time aide who's hourly, when they go in, so classified part-time aide that's hourly, when they go in to create their leave request, then it's going to increment by half hour hourly when they create their leave request. So lots more flexibility with this now. And obviously it's looking at the employee's information in USPS to make that determination as to what they're going to see on their increments on their leave request form. Okay. The only other things left in here are we did have a bug where we handled a null pointer exception error that was happening with a missing building code or department code underneath the sub-coordinator view. So that was taken care of. And then we just had a couple behind the scene things that were done that the users will not see underneath our patches and internal information. Do you guys have any questions regarding the updates in ESS? All right, well, I'm going to stop sharing and I'll have Andrea start then on the USPS information. Thanks, everyone. Have a good week. Yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Share. Okay. Welcome. Happy Friday. I will be going through the payroll side of the releases for May. In May, we had 2 hot fixes and 2 regular. So we'll be going over those. The first ones we're going to be doing are the improvements. There was a new implement added on the user section for when employees are logging in. If they try 5 consecutive attempts, they will get locked out. So anybody that has permission to unlock those employees, they will have to do that for them. So if they go to the system and user, which I'm already there, you will see this new lock and unlock button. So if they attempt to try to log in and they have the wrong password 5 times in a row, it will automatically lock them. So then the user with the permission at the district can go in to here, find the employee that shows locked and unlock that employee. And my Android dock is not working very well this morning for some reason. So I was going to try to show you, but there it goes. So it will show locked. So when they're locked out, the user is locked. So then at this time, they can just click on that, or they can go to the edit button also. It's not working for me. So certain why it's not working. Okay, let me log back out and try again. It's just my Android dock is giving me issues today. Well, it has been. So let me try now. There we go. So then you can unlock it and then that person can go ahead and attempt to log in again. Or if they need their password reset, then you can go ahead and do that if they forgot what their password is. So that is new. The next one is employee last pay date on the employee screen. Now this will be updated every time when they post the payroll, it will update to that new payroll pay date. And then if they unpost that payroll, it will go back to the previous pay date. So again, that is in the employee screen. That will be right here. And then also what they did in this updating of that field is if the district voids the payment for an employee, it will automatically go back to what the last pay date was for that employee. And then also if they unvoid that payroll or that payment, it will update back to what that of that paid date of that void was. So now they should see that field being updated for both posting, unposting, and then if they're voiding or voiding payment, it should update that field here. And in this process, it was noticed, we had a district that contacted us. They were pulling a report or running an earnings register in CSV. And when they were doing that, the earnings register does a check for the credential ID when it is running. So what we suggest until this actually gets updated and corrected, we included a credential ID validation report for you can import into the create report and it will create a report for you. And I imported it in already here. And it doesn't like if it has any spaces after the credential ID, because you can't see that when you're actually in the employee and you're looking at the credential ID, you can't see that. So I already imported the credential ID report here. And then I ran a CSV for this. And what you do once you create that and save it, you open that up in Notepad++. So here's an example of my CSV that I wrote. I opened it up in Notepad++, and what they will all have to do is just go down and look for any spaces after. And here mine don't have any spaces, but you could have some that had a space like that or a tab. We want to make sure those are removed. So then you want to go back into the employee that has the issue, backspace, and then rerun the report again to make sure that you have no spaces after, because that will cause an issue when you're running that report. Okay. The next thing is, this has been asked for a long time, to not allow to enter a bad date. So now when you're entering any of date fields on any of the date fields in the USPS, you can only go from January 1st to 1900 to December 31st of 2100. And if you try to enter an extra space like 21020, you're going to get date must be between these fields. Now you can enter it in the future. It's only going to allow four dates. So it can be anything in between here. So again, they still have to be a little careful so they don't enter a wrong date, but it won't let you add like 6 or 7 digits in the last. So like if I go here and I enter, and then I try to save it, you get an error, exit out of that, and then down here you will see. And if you highlight over it, it tells you date must be between this range. So then they can go ahead and save it. But again, I can still enter a date that's in the future. So you still have to be kind of careful on that part of it. But again, at least it won't let you enter a date that's totally out of with 5 digits or more. Okay, the next one is, as you notice, probably the improved look when you're logging into the district's sites or such. And I bet I probably won't be, yeah, there it goes. So here is just the new look of when you're logging in now, what you will see. So that was an improvement. The next one is the STRS Advanced configuration. This is no longer available to be seen or updated by any user except for admin. So that would probably be only you at the ITC that can do that now, unless districts have an admin user. But districts can still see that, but they just have to go to core and organization now, which they could always before, but we took that option out so they cannot mess with the STRS Advanced configuration anymore. So this is non-modifiable on organization, so they can still see if they're in advance, when it was submitted, what the advance amount, and then the amount paid back every payroll. So again, they want to make sure they check this once they're in advance and make sure that the amount paid back is increasing each time. They just can't see it under the STRS configuration anymore. So if they do need to make corrections or something, they can contact you at the ITC and you can go ahead and do those steps to take them out of advance so they can do corrections, or at the end of advance, they're still in advance and figure out why they're in advance. The next thing is the ODGF new hire report. This has these two fields now work together for the ODGF new hire. So if you need to submit an employee, so we'll go ahead and work on this person here. Say this is my new person. So these two, so once you have the ODGS reportable, then once you go here, now you see my person. So I want him to be selected. I'm going to generate the submission file. Then now that person is gone. So now when I go back, that person will be checked as new hire reported. So again, if the box is checked, the new hire, that means the employee has already been reported to ODGF's new hire. If the box is unchecked and needs to be reported, then again, you check the ODGS reportal box, run the new hire, and then the box will be checked automatically for the ODGFS new hire report. Okay, the next thing is the EMIS absent days. This was updated because now EMIS is also including vacation days in their count. So for the absence and long-term, so any absence days counts, and now the long-term is now counting absence. So any absent day except for professional is included in that count. Okay, so under EMIS, if you need to check what is reported, you can go to the EMIS reports, and down here at the bottom, we have all the dates of what should be included. So now you see vacation, sick, personal, doc, jury, military, and other. So that is now considered a absence. Again, you got to make sure that there are 15 or consecutive days. They can have a break and then have another 15 consecutive days. That would be counted as long-term, as long as they're consecutive days. All right. Any question on any of the improvements? Okay. The next thing is bugs. We had a few bugs. An issue occurred for a district. This was a big district that has several employees doing payroll at the same time. And what they found out when they were modifying and updating pay groups, several employees were doing that at the same time, and the system was not catching it. So we put a stop to that. So now, if you're going in and you're updating payroll, modifying and updating, and you're doing this at the same time as somebody else, whoever gets to it first will get the update, and then the payroll person, the other payroll person will see this message pop up saying it's being modified by another user, and then they can exit out of that, and then you will be redirected back to the payroll grid, and you can verify if it's still being in progress. So once you get out of there, you can go here and see if it's still updating. And then that should update the pay groups that were modified. What was doing, it was causing employees to be doubled or tripled every time somebody was modifying. So it was not catching that somebody else was doing it too at the same time. So if somebody gets to it first and you already had saved that pay group, that will be updated with that person who is updating. So you might just, the big districts that have multiple employees doing it, they just might have to double check that their pay groups are being updated. Okay. The next thing is the new contract import. We found that somebody was trying to clear the EMIS field using the new contract import, and it was not working. So now this has been updated. If you need to clear those before during new contract import, you can enter 0 in these fields on the CSV, and that will clear them out and put 0 in those fields in the position screen under EMIS fields. If they leave them blank and they're included on that import file, it will use what is pulled from what was already on the position screen and pull those into new contract. The next thing is the earnings register CSV report. The district was running the CSV and earnings register and CSV, and what it was doing, it was pulling in the header's wrong. So the header would be on one line, and then what it really should have been pulling in, the data was pulling onto the next column. And what we found was this district had a comma in the abbreviation on the payroll item screen, payroll item config screen on the abbreviation. So that was down here. So on the abbreviation, it was this right here. They had a comma in here. So the system was looking at that comma and thinking that it needed to go to the next line. So what now with they're running the earnings register, that it will look at that behind the scenes and look for anything that has a comma in the abbreviation and ignore that when they're running that report. So they shouldn't see that issue anymore. Okay, so that was the bugs so far. And then we had quite a few patches internal, but again, these are no visible changes to anybody. They're all internal and behind the scenes. Okay, is there any questions on any of that, what we've gone through? Okay, well, thank you. Have a happy Friday. I will switch you over to Pat then. It's all yours.
Okay. Okay. So in the month of May, USAS had 2 regular releases. One included an improvement on the financial detail report. So now you can, it's been updated to include the running fund balance on the report instead of the remaining encumbrance column when certain conditions were met. I'm sorry. Those conditions are the first day of the fiscal year, like 7/1/2025, or the first day of the current posting period. Now, in today's release, There's been an update, so you'll have a choice still based on these two parameters. But this is what it's going to look like with the tooltip. It's going to allow the user to check mark this display running fund balance. And that will replace the remaining encumbrance column with that column if the start date is the first day of the current posting period or the fiscal year. So that'll be in today's release. But future refinements include allowing the running fund balance column to be displayed when the start date is the first day of any posting period. So if you did May 1st, you would have that choice. And then updating the running fund balance column to be labeled the ending balance when the summary report is generated, as well as increasing the width of the amount columns to ensure that large amounts will display properly on the report. So here is what it currently did before today's update. So when you entered the parameter of 7.1, you got the running fund balance. When you generated it for 7.2, which is not the first day of the current posting period or the fiscal year, you got the remaining encumbrance column. So now with these parameters, excuse me, you'll have that choice after today. Any questions on that? Or on the future enhancements on that report? Okay, so as Andrea mentioned, we implemented user hard lockout in USAS as well. And the user record now includes the read-only field of failed attempts, and I'll show you where that is right here. Failed attempts. You can see this user Patty has 3 failed attempts. So if I log in as Patty and the wrong credentials, this will be the message up to 5 times. So now if I went back and showed you what it looked like, it would say 4 failed attempts. So this would be my 5th. And then it changes that your account has now been locked. So again, only users with that permission to unlock the user can do that on the user grid. And it must be unlocked before the user can reset the password. So you would unlock it here. But if you wanted to view the user, you can see it's failed attempts 5. If Patty entered the correct credentials on the 4th attempt or anything before the 5th attempt, it would be reset to 0 because it would be a valid login. The date range validations, that's what Andrea showed you. So when you're entering a transaction, you're limited by those date ranges. So if I entered like a date of 01, 0701, 21/005, which is like 5 digits, it'll error out. And if you hover, it'll say the dates must be included in that range. So that is how that works. I apologize if you can hear the lawnmowers outside. Again, we updated the login page to include the Management Council's logo as well as ours. And we made the columns or the rows where the user enters the username and password longer. The account changed the code behind the scenes for updating the process and was refactored and enhanced the performance significantly. But some of the other changes with the account change is standard USAS users can now process the account changes without encountering access denied errors. So that's been fixed. And then the account code selection. So let me go in there. The account code selection, as you see here, you can select which accounts you want in your account change. And then it'll display only those. So if I chose the revenue one, in my drop downs, I'm only going to see revenue accounts. And the same goes with the expenditure. So that has been fixed. And then account change requests with the status of complete can no longer be modified, causing issues, later on. The requisition import process is now consistent with the manual entry of a requisition, meaning when you can leave. Do I have an example? You can leave a requisition with no account code. So let me show you one. This was manually entered, but before, when you imported, the specs said you had to have an account code. So we updated that and the documentation to say that that column on the import spreadsheet must be there, but it can be left blank so that you can get a requisition that says no account assigned. And again, before it becomes available to be converted to a purchase order, the account code must be updated on a requisition or it won't be converted. But you can create a requisition without an account code. Any questions on that? We also, behind the scenes, they did a discovery patch just to see what common preferences on certain grids or all grids people are using so that they can enhance user design defaults in the future. For example, like the activity grid, I always unselect certain fields and add certain fields to my grid every day. And then it defaults to that. But those kind of things, if everybody was doing the same columns, it might be updated in the future. So it's a discovery. All right, so that's the end of May's USAS releases. I don't see any questions, but please, if you do, just let me know. And then as far as, oops, I unshared, didn't I? You guys can see the inventory releases. If not, let me know. I was trying to find the chat, and that's where it went bonkers. My screen. Okay, so in the month of May, inventory had one regular release, and that one of the features included an improvement on the import error messages. And that's just been enhanced for clarity, now providing a little bit better messages when an error does occur. And then the importer has been improved to automatically trim like white spaces. Often when they go to import, they had like trailing spaces that exceeded the length that was allowed when importing. So then it was failing. So that has been corrected. And then the book value report has been corrected to include or exclude items that have been changed or that the capitalization has been changed, for example, in a future fiscal year. So if an item became capitalized in 2024, it should not appear on the 2023 book value report. And likewise, if an item that lost its capitalization status in 2024 should still appear on the 23 report. So that's been corrected. Okay, that is all I have. Let me show you what is coming up. Again, keep checking the meetings and trainings page because as you know, we delayed a recent Fridays with Fiscal regarding the document store. So that's not on the schedule, but check the page. These are the ones that are coming up. A deeper dive in reports, a regular recap releases, another one, a deeper dive into the grids, and then a tentative date for the Ippy Dippy preview. And then the digital W2 digital delivery that Michelle was talking about earlier today. That's been scheduled in August. So don't forget, there's a survey when you leave this session that'll pop up, and you will appreciate any feedback about this Fridays with Fiscal, as well as any future suggestions for future trainings. We'd appreciate that. If there are no questions, then have a great weekend and we'll see you next time. Thank you.